Hello all, and welcome back to The Leadcast, Real Leaders, Real Talk. Last episode, we got a chance to listen to Young's song and her amazing experiences serving her community. On today's episode, we have Angelina Matti, a senior at IA East, ready to give her takes on leadership. Hey, Angelina.
Hi, Gargi. Thanks for having me.
Of course. To start us off, could you tell us a little bit about yourself, your hobbies, your school life, etc.?
All right. I am Angelina Matti. I am a senior at IA East, which is crazy. High school really does go by fast, so really cherish every moment you have. In terms of who I am and what I do, I really aim to uplift and empower everybody and everything I do through creative means. I think the way that I can talk about that is by describing a little bit about what I do and what I'm involved in. So as Gargi knows, I am one of the co-presidents of the Superintendent Student Advisory Board, where we work directly with the superintendent and the administration in Troy, alongside high schoolers across the Troy School District to help coordinate events and really use creativity and our own strengths to help empower people within the Troy School District. I'm also involved in my school's calligraphy club. I founded the club to help empower individuals to serve our community through creative means. I am the president of my school's chemistry club as well, where we do super fun events where we get to go and have fun teaching chemistry, doing super fun events with guest speakers, and even planning some new fun future things with our chemistry teacher over there. I am also a swim captain for my swim team, and again, super fun, super strong group of girls, very hardworking. I love to empower them to really do their best in everything they do, and again, use fun things, creative things to help empower them. One of the things that we actually did was I made a bunch of pom-pom fishes for each of them to make them super excited about joining the team when they first started. And each of them now has them on their swim bag. And to this day, I think it's just a memory of our community that we were able to build on that team. A few other things that I actually created is a community called Starlit Studies. It's a community where I work with around 2,000 students to help empower them in their school lives and student lives. I help teach them organizational skills so that they're able to feel empowered in the school system, because school is very overwhelming, and I really am someone who values education, and I really love planning and stationery. I'm a stationery fanatic, planning fanatic. So it's something I love to do, and I love working with tons of students to be able to empower them. We hold tons of drives to donate stationery to underdeserved areas to help those students really achieve their potential. And something else that I work on is a organization called Cure Corps. I founded the organization to help empower patients, and in particular pediatric patients, help to be seen beyond a diagnosis, and also, again, empower them by creative means. Something that my team and I work on are books that we publish that feature different individuals with different diagnoses to help see who these individuals are, understand their diagnosis, and also understand them as a person. So we publish these books to feature them. We also are currently working on a little film project that will feature some of them. We do a ton, again, of creative events with that, where we make, for example, little mini pumpkins that we donate to them, or cards that we donate to them, again, to empower them, really to see themselves beyond a label and just really find the joy of life even when you are suffering with illness or going through a hard time. So yeah, most of what I do is I try to empower my community really through creative means.
Wow, that's really cool. Wow, that was so many things. I didn't know you did half of those things. I have seen so many backpacks in the hallway that have those swim pom-poms.
Really?
Yeah, and I always wondered, like, wow, all these swim girls have these pom-poms. I always wondered what it was. And now I realized today who made them. Wow, that's amazing. I feel like it's always the little things, right, that us as leaders can do to help the people we work with feel better, and safe. So you're in so many leadership positions, but like, when did you realize that leadership was your thing, at the start? Like, I mean, it never, like, you weren't ever born with it, right? So you didn't come out saying, oh my gosh, I'm going to be a leader, right? So when did you realize that, this is my thing? Like, I'm going to go and I'm going to be a leader. When did you realize that?
I think I am someone who's very compassionate, or at least my friends tell me. And I think people have realized that about me, and that's allowed me to step into leadership roles. I remember in middle school, we had this organization called National Junior Honor Society, and my teacher actually invited me to join it because she said, Angelina, you're such a kind, compassionate person who's so creative. Why don't you join the society and try to do different projects? And I was like, I never thought about it, actually. And actually, that would sound super fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to join it because my teacher invited me. And I was able to hold an event where we did a organizational thing where we did a fundraiser with St. Jude. And we actually ended up donating around $1,000 to St. Jude for their cancer pediatric patients. And we even did more things related to advocacy. We were able to make yellow pins for them, for all the students, to bring awareness to St. Jude's. And we were able to really get in touch with St. Jude's more and help support those patients. So really, I think when you're someone who has those leadership characteristics, like compassion, you're empathetic, you're someone who's very organized. Again, I told you I'm like a planner freak.
Yeah.
I think people just recognize that and they want those types of people in leadership. With SSAB too, I actually didn't know SSAB existed until my principal suggested I apply for it. And again, it was something that I was so excited about because I can go and use these skills that I've honed over time and really make a difference in my community through my own means. And as I told you before, I'm really into creativity and using fun to build a community. And when I recognized that opportunity because others brought it to the table, I was able to take it. So really, it's about really letting those values show that you have, and the opportunities will just come your way to be a leader.
Wow, that's amazing. I feel like all the things you said make so much sense. I feel like there's always someone who's helping you and getting you through things. And just quick question, what middle school did you go to?
I actually didn't go to a Troy school.
Ooh.
I went to Holy Name, which is a middle school in Birmingham. So yes, different opportunities there too. And it was, again, a bunch of supportive teachers, supportive people, and really those supportive people can push you a long way.
Wow, that's amazing. I feel like coming to your leadership style, you are so creative, empathetic, and you're always looking to help your peers. That's amazing. But, what's one thing, like a thing, that you probably couldn't get through your day without? Like, whether that helps you with stress management, organization, etc. For me, I'm like you, I am also a organizational freak. I love my planner. Here we go again with my planner. I love my planner, and that is the thing for me. I feel like every single leader has a thing where they rely on, whether it be your team, whether it be, the one keychain you carry around that gives you good luck. I don't know. But what is it for you?
I think it's actually a few things, but I'm going to try to whittle it down. Number one, I love, love, love everything I do. Everything I do, I make sure I give 100%, which is why I can't do everything, because I want to give 100% to everything I do. And when you love what you do, that relieves a lot of stress. Because if you're giving your passion to something, you're not going to feel that exterior or inferiority with it. You're not going to feel like you're doing something just out of force. You're feeling that you're doing something out of love. So number one, doing things out of love. And then number two, I would say is, yes, have that organizational system. So I'm going to go into a little story about my stationary fanatic behavior and how that started. So in third grade, I became a planner freak. I, for some reason, walked through the stationery aisle at Michael's and Target, and I saw planners, and for some reason, my brain was like, planner, me, together for life. So I started being super into planning, and I saw all these planners, and I was like, I love you, planner. And I saw these different types of setups, and I saw like a calendar layout, I saw a weekly layout, I saw timetables. I fell in love. But the thing is, each planner had like a different layout. And I wanted a planner that fit my own style and my own agenda. So then, in I think around 5th grade, I realized there's something called bullet journaling. Have you heard of it?
Yes, I have.
So it was like basically the perfect Angelina planner I could create. If people don't know, a bullet journal is basically a blank notebook where you can just create any planner that you like. And that was perfect. That's what I was looking for. I was looking to integrate all those different things from the different planners that I liked and make a system that worked for me. So that system carried with me until around 6th grade when COVID started and we needed to go online. And then I was like, oh, now I need an online thing. And so I saw that there was this thing called Notion, and I started using that to link things and link assignments. And then I started using Google Calendar because I got busier, and then I realized, oh, I need a time block, and oh, things move around, and I don't want to scribble things in my notebook. That makes it ugly. So then I started using Google Calendar, and I'm telling you, I had like too many planners at this point. And eventually I whittled it down to these 3 things: the Notion, the Google Calendar, and the bullet journal. And each thing helps me stay organized in a different way. The bullet journal, I list every single task I have, and also I'm able to integrate my own creativity with it, so it really allows me to de-stress too when I'm putting stickers or washi tape or drawing something fun on there. And then Notion, I can, again, integrate links from online things. And then Google Calendar is very maneuverable. I can move anything that I have during the day, or if schedules move, conflicts happen. Very easy to get through. And all this to say is I found an organizational system that works for me, and that is something I do with a lot of people I work with in Starlit Studies. I help them find organizational systems that work for them. There are some people, all they do is they have a sticky note and they literally write every task, every event they have on this sticky note. And these people are some of the most organized people I've ever met. And they just found that system that works for them. So if you find that system that works for you to organize everything, then that will take you a long way. And then third thing, sorry, I'm taking so long.
No, you're good.
Is that you have to have a team of supportive people around you, and I'm so fortunate to have that. And not to toot your horn, but like you're one of them. As this AB, you're so organized, so responsible, and I know you're one of the people I can rely on. Every organization that I work with, I have an awesome team. I know who's always there to support me, who's always coming and asking me if I need help, and I'm always there for them. So again, having that supportive team too comes a long way.
Yeah. All of the things you just said are so true. First of all, the planner is real. The amount of organizational systems that you have, I just have my planner. But I feel like thinking about that right now after you said, I feel like people can have different types of systems that all of them work for them. That's actually new, and I've never really thought about it like that before, which that's really cool. And also, I love the advice that you give of how every person works differently and how it is your job as a leader to understand the people that you work with and to be open-minded, and the fact that not everyone works in the same way as you. That's really cool. Yeah. And again, coming back to SSAB, even though I haven't worked with you for that long, I realized that there are times when things can get really stressful, because you have those deadlines that you have to meet. So how do you, as president, as co-president, how do you handle all of the stress that comes last minute?
I think part of it is, again, having that team around you, that support around you, and also having that organization system. So first, starting with that team. When I'm working with my team, I make sure that we are very close. We understand each other. We can work off of each other. I make sure we have responsibilities set, but also have boundaries set. I know each of my team members so well. I know what their strengths are. I know what I can rely on them for. I know what might limit them. And I know how to work with them. So knowing that each person has a certain strength, and I can delegate something to one person and I can delegate something to another person, and I have this support all around me, makes things way less stressful. And then also having that organizational system. Every team I work with knows I have this template that I always use that has a task list. The task list has the task, the date it's due, and then a little progress bar on how it's going. And I always make sure to check in with these people. And again, going back to setting boundaries, I tell them I'm going to be checking in with you bi-weekly. I make sure that we know dates that will work and when I should check in. And I make sure to communicate with them on whether something is feasible for them, whether it's going to work out. And when you are honing these communication skills, when you really know that person that you're working with, again, things become way less stressful. And then also, again, going back to this concept of loving what you do, when you love what you do, it makes things, again, way less stressful. You don't need to worry too much about, oh, I need to do this and this and this, but rather you're saying to yourself, I get to do this and this and this. I'm so excited. And actually, every meeting that I hold for any organization, every time I start the meeting with, guys, awesome job, we just raised this amount, or we just contacted this person and we got them to do this thing. So I always make sure to start on a positive note, and the energy you bring to what you do carries. When you're super excited about something, other people are going to be excited about it. So bring that excitement also counters that stress.
Yeah, I feel like that is something that, something as a leader that I could also work on, because some of the things that I might accidentally do sometimes, especially like, when I'm working with a team, I might start off with like the things that, people may need to work on, and then I might lean towards, and then at the end, I'm like, okay, now here's the great things that you did. So I think after thinking about what you said, which is amazing, I think that, talking to you, you do that too. And I'm a witness of Angelina's template because she uses that for SSAB too. And it is so helpful. That template, this is why I am so active on that template, is because it works so well. It's so organized, and all I need to do is just click a couple buttons to have everything I need organized. Yeah, that template is really useful. So, and she does check up, and you do check up with us so much. And I feel like that's so helpful. Yeah, you're just such an amazing leader. Like, I feel like,
thank you.
Of course. Thank you. But coming back to what you said, like, different perspectives also are so important. Like, because some people may take things in a positive way and some people can take it in a negative way. So I think being, like you said, being positive all the time is just so important, especially at the beginning of anything. And that's so cool. And being a leader, I'm sure you've dealt with, whether that be swim or like Starlight or anything that you do, being a leader, I'm sure you've dealt with people who don't care as much as you do, or are really, keeping up, or like they're not just the best people to work with. Sometimes we are in a position like that. And how do you approach these types of people?
Yes, you definitely will encounter that. And I think the worst thing to do is assume the worst of that person. I think we all come from different backgrounds. We all have different things going on. Everyone has their own schedule. And that's why when I'm working with someone, the first thing I do is to ensure that I understand what's going on in this person's life. I understand what their strengths are, so that we don't encounter that problem. But that problem arises no matter what you do. You can't really avoid it all the time. So what I try to do is, first, I'm going to communicate with that person. I'm asking them what's going on. Is everything okay? I'm here for you. I have a smile on my face. I am supporting you no matter what. I don't want you to freak out about anything. If anything is stressing you in any way, come to me. I am here. I am open. This is my job. I am a leader who is always supporting my team. I want everyone to feel empowered. So if someone or if something is bugging someone, I want them to feel comfortable enough to come up to me and tell me. I don't want it to result in anything going negative, and I want them to feel okay approaching me about any issues. And if that doesn't work out, again, going back to bringing that positive energy, every time I'm in a room, I want people to feel positive. I want my optimism to reflect onto other people, because when you are happy about what you do and when you love what you do, again, that energy just goes around the room, and people are more excited to do what you want them to do. And also, again, showing the numbers, the impact of what you do, always brings people together and will encourage them to do more. Something that I typically do with the organizations I have is we have an Instagram page to highlight people and recognize their efforts. SSAB, I'm sure you always see. We always have super fun Instagram posts to promote it. TSD.SSAB. Go follow and like all our posts. But it's the point of the Instagram is to highlight all the effort that SSAB puts and also have some fun while we're doing it. We have so many posts that our awesome team works on, like where we highlight a teacher wearing sunglasses, being like, come to our game that's coming up, the TSD Staff versus Students basketball game. It's all super fun. And I think when you create this fun, positive environment for people, people start to care. And that's what you really need to do. You need to show that you love something and show that you're happy about doing it, and other people will reflect that positivity.
Yeah, reflecting positivity, I feel like, you bring such a positive attitude to SSAB, and I feel like that's also what makes me super passionate about it, is that I feel like if it was anyone else, it would have taken a little bit more work for as us to come and approach a leader up there, and I think the energy that you bring and just your mindset is just amazing. Yeah. And next, I just wanted to ask you for some advice as a leader who, is in all these positions. There are so many people who I see every day, and you probably see too, who struggle with their communication or from a leader's point of view. What tips would you give anyone who wants to work on their communication? Because I think you brought it a lot up that, communication is key for a leader. So what tips would you give anyone who's struggling with it?
I actually want to bring up something that my friend told me that they admire about the way I lead. They said this perfect balance of strength and gentleness. And I think that's a key for a communicator. When you are communicating with a group, you need to make sure that you're gentle enough that people feel that you're amicable enough to approach. Again, you need to be positive. You need to be someone that people are so excited to approach, so not someone who you're scared to approach. And I think I try to reflect this in everything I do. I want to give the example of chemistry club. I think something I try to do when I'm doing events for that club, like tutoring events, when someone comes up to me with a question, I'm not going to do a monotone of, then this is an atom, and this is what it does, and this is a periodic table, and this is the trend that you need to know. I'm going to do a whole choreographed dance of the periodic table, and you're going to be seeing me doing a ton of silly voices of what nitrogen is or what this trend is. And again, approaching people in this way makes them feel more comfortable with you. When you're silly and fun and laughing with someone, they're going to feel better when they're communicating with you. And that's what a good communicator does. They make sure that other people feel comfortable approaching them and not dominating a conversation. But that goes to the point of you still need to be strong. And that strength comes from being a organized individual, someone who has their thoughts all planned out, who knows the action items that need to be done, who has everything for an event planned out. And when you have this perfect balance of strength and gentleness in the way that you lead, you can really enable other individuals to go out and change the world and build this strong community.
Wow, that's amazing advice. I think it's super important that, people do keep up with their communication, because as a leader, I feel like it's so important. And I feel like even just day to day, if you're trying to, again, ask a question to, someone like you, the tutoring sessions and stuff, I feel like some people are scared to come up to people and ask questions. And I feel like that's so important, not just as a leader, but just as a person in general. And I feel like being a leader, you can really help those people through your communication. And I think that you do a really good job with it anyway. So that's amazing. What other advice would you have for organizational tips or just time management in general?
Again, know the system that works for you. It's really about trial and error. You're not going to go out and find something that works for you right away. That's why I literally have a whole initiative that we try to figure this out for different students. So it takes a ton of time to figure out what works for you, but start as soon as you can to try and figure out how can I organize? What can I do to make my life easier? How can I manage everything? And yes, I think it's super easy to fall into the slump of procrastination. I think we all do it. And I think the only way to avoid that is to make sure you understand your schedule. If you have a lot going on, you can't really afford to procrastinate too much. Of course, you need breaks, and that's super important. You need to balance what you do with breaks. But again, that's why you have to love what you do, so that when you're doing something, you don't feel like, oh, I have to do this, I'm so overwhelmed. But you feel like, I get to do this, I'm so excited, and you get energized by that thing. And that makes managing your time way easier when you're looking forward to different things. So when you get home and you have to go do something else, you're not feeling like you have to do it, but rather you get to do that thing. And really, again, that comes to making sure that you organize yourself, you are passionate about what you do, and you really, again, surround yourself with people who support you in everything that you do.
Your ability to keep this positive mindset is so crazy. I love it so much. I feel like it's so hard, like, on some days to keep this positive mindset of like, oh, I have to versus I get to do this. Like, I love that. I need to get that framed because it's such good advice. I feel like if every single person started thinking that way, every single person would have that leadership spark within them because I feel like that is so important as a leader. But yeah, thank you so much for this advice. And since we are nearing the end of our episode today, I want to congratulate Angelina on surviving the LeadCast hot seat. Lastly, every guest finishes with the sentence, leadership means blank. So what does this mean to you?
Tying back to the positivity, I think leadership means doing everything you do to empower others with a smile on your face, doing things that you love in order to uplift your community and stay positive while doing it, in order to help them and for you to change the world, because that's what every leader wants. They want to make sure that they're empowering others to make good in this world.
100%. I love that answer. That's so amazing. Well, to our viewers, if you thought today's guest was amazing, wait until you hear who's next. Thanks for listening, and tune in every month to The LeadCast. Real leaders, real talk. Thank you, Angelina.
Thank you for having me.